good, takers? Welcome back to the first take. I'm Ritter, and I'm coming at you solo for this review of Jessica Jones Netflix exclusive original. Now, it's Saturday. I watched Jessica Jones yesterday. I kind of let it mold over in my brain. I even went back and watched a few Daredevil episodes as well. Now, first things first, did I like Jessica Jones? Yes, I did. Do I like the character Jessica Jones? I love her. This is a character who I never gave a damn about in the comic books. And now all of a sudden, yeah, she's definitely a person who I want to see more of on the big or small screen. As far as the show goes, it's definitely enjoyable, but it's very different than Daredevil. I think that's important to point out. Even though tonally there are similarities there, it's still a very different show. Whereas Daredevil is like a dark action movie, you know, like a slow-paced dark action movie over 13 hours. Jessica Jones, even though there are a few action beats in it, it's full-on noir. It's more about the investigation. It's more cerebral. But you think with having a main character who has these sort of superpowers of being able to jump, kind of fly but not really, and super strength, that there'd be more memorable moments using those abilities, and there really aren't any. Whereas Daredevil had memorable action sequences like the hallway scene in episode 2 at the end, and the fight in the rain. I think that might be in episode 2 as well. There's a few of them. There's a whole bunch of them. The fight against the ninja. Like, there's all these memorable action moments in the Daredevil show. Jessica Jones doesn't really have those, you know. And it's not that there aren't action beats in it. There are quite a few sprinkled out, but they're just not very well captured. You know, the way that they're shot, the way that they're choreographed. But you know, it's a different show. It's more on the investigation. What I do like about Jessica Jones, and we're going to get into spoilers here. I'm going to touch on a few things, so it's definitely going to be a spoiler review. Actually, let me break it down. Let's break it down. Let's pull back and let's get into the performances. Krysten Ritter. Yeah, this is a career high for me for Krysten Ritter. As far as I'm concerned, this is the strongest performance she's ever done. She's brought across one of Marvel's most complex and nuanced characters, most damaged, but she's just a deep character. One I want to see way more of. So she's done a great job. So she definitely deserves a pat on the back for that. Nicolas Cage, Mike Colter as Luke Cage. He's made me a believer. Like, he always captured the look of Luke Cage. He always looked like Luke Cage. So it was like, yeah, that's great casting. But when I saw him in there was a Halo Microsoft sort of web series thing that he did where he was a lead, and I didn't really feel like he brought that much energy to that role. So I was a little worried that he was going to bring that to this, but I'm actually really into this guy. I think I'm actually looking forward to the Luke Cage show now, which they're filming right now. So he did a great job. David Tennant as Purple Man, aka Kilgrave, which they never actually really referred to as the Purple Man. They referred to the color purple, and that's his favorite color. But yeah, I don't think they actually call him Purple Man in this. But yeah, he's really good. Once the wheels get spinning, it takes a while, kind of like with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin in Daredevil. For the first couple of episodes, he's more just someone who's in the background. You just hear him speaking his name. You hear people speaking his name. Like, oh, it's this guy, you know. And they kind of build up the tension in that way. But then once he finally gets unveiled and really get into his psyche, he is a fucked up dude. He is a fucked up dude. I still prefer Kingpin though. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin as a more just realized villain, even though you do fully get into Kilgrave's motives and what drives him, and he's full on insane. But he's a good character. They definitely bring him to life, and yeah, this is Marvel's second, maybe third. I think I still prefer Loki over Purple Man, but he's a solid villain. I like the way how it all comes from a place of love, as he believes it, you know, in his delusional brain. He doesn't feel like he's done anything wrong. He feels like he's the victim, and it's all from a place of love, and his love for Jessica Jones as he believes it, and his desire to want her back. And he just can't understand why doesn't she love him? Why doesn't she want to be with him? I love the way that they brought that across, and that's in no small part down to David Tennant's performance. Like, he just killed it. He killed it lovely. Overall, there are inconsistencies in the ability set, in the skill set of Jessica Jones. There are because we kind of see her bending solid metal chairs and lifting metal beams and pulling steel bars off of the wall. Like, they really kind of get into that Superman-ish level of power and lifting the cards, like lifting up cards from the back. You know, we established that side of her abilities, but then we see her getting pinned up against the wall by fucking 50-something-year-old police officers and random people in the, just taking her down, grabbing her leg. Like, it's kind of an inconsistency. She gets thrown around a lot by regular people without special powers, and you kind of think that it shouldn't go down that easy. So there seems to be like they never really sat down and really thought about what her abilities are and what level her powers are, because it kind of up and down. 1 minute she's just throwing everyone around, next minute she's getting fucked up by just 4 people, which shouldn't really happen. And even her abilities in comparison to Luke Cage, you know, we see in their second sex scene together that she's kind of got his arms and she's pulling him up. Like, he tries to rip off her shirt, but she just grabs him and they're just playing with each other, but you can see he's trying to force it back. But they insinuate that she's stronger, that he's the indestructible one, but she's the one that has the strength and the power. But then by the end of the series, they kind of take that away, where he's just as powerful, if not occasionally, as she is. And that kind of throws you a bit, that inconsistency. But you know, these are minor quibbles. If you didn't like the pace of Daredevil, if you thought that Daredevil was too slow, and if you haven't seen this one yet, then you probably may not be into this one. Even though it's a very different show, it's way more of the psychological side of things. It is a slower show than Daredevil. Even though I didn't have a problem breezing through the 13 episodes in one go, it was very much a slow burn as far as the way of the form of storytelling that they brought across. There's way more of that sort of crime noir aspect to it than Daredevil has. But I feel like I definitely preferred Daredevil, but I did enjoy Jessica Jones, and I definitely want to see more, because they left story threads there that which can still be tied up down the road. As far as carrying over characters, considering this is all taking place in the same area, Hell's Kitchen in New York, you kind of expect more of a crossover of the characters from Daredevil to Jessica Jones. And like I said, spoilers, there is one character that appears from Daredevil into Jessica Jones, but it's probably not the one you'd expect, even though there was windows where they could have brought over Murdoch and Foggy from Daredevil into Jessica Jones. There are characters who are in trouble, people who need lawyers, criminal lawyers, like Carrie-Anne Moss's girlfriend slash fiance when she gets done for murder. They could have easily brought, when she dismisses Carrie-Anne Moss and says, "No, you are not my lawyer," they could have brought in Foggy, and that could have been a nice little cameo. Or Jessica Jones could have had Foggy and the Murdoch as lawyers. Those little windows of moments would have been really cool, but they never did that. But they did bring over Rosario Dawson in the last episode. I think it may have just been, all the episodes tend to just blur into one big mess at this point, man. Once you watch it more than one go, it's hard to separate each individual episode, and I'm still feeling it right now, man. But they bring over Rosario Dawson, and that works. That was a nice cameo. It was nice to see her, and it kind of links everything in together nicely. But it would have been nice to see one or two other characters just kind of pop up, considering how close in the world that they are together, and considering how big Fisk was supposed to be in Daredevil, as far as how he has his fingers in everything that goes on in Hell's Kitchen, how it's his world that he controls. You never hear any mention of it. There's no real connection, and I guess I can get away with that. It's not really a big complaint, because Kilgrave kind of operates in his own, he's kind of in his own bubble with what he influences and what he gets involved with, so I can forgive that Fisk's not appearing in it. I think next with Daredevil, they're definitely going to have to refer to some of the events in this, because there are some big what the fuck moments in this which kind of need to be addressed, like a whole hospital of motherfuckers going crazy trying to kill each other has to be referred to in Daredevil. I'm really interested in seeing what happens with Daredevil when I think they're just finishing up shooting that, or they've finished shooting it now, but that probably won't be up until like maybe February, March, so we still got a ways to wait. But oh god, but yeah, I enjoyed it, man. Jessica Jones, overall, Netflix done a great job with their second show, especially considering this is a show that most people didn't really know anything about. but people were legitimately excited, including me. Now, I tried to read Alias many years ago, because I always heard how amazing it was, how Bendis, the guy who created it and wrote it, how he just did an amazing job with this, an amazing story. But I couldn't get through more than four issues of it, and that ain't because there's nothing wrong with the book. It was because of the art style. I have a very particular taste when it comes to the art that I look at in a comic book, and the art style that was in those books just wasn't one that appealed to me. It just wasn't visually stimulating to me, and I just didn't like it at all. The story was like gripping. I was in there, but just visually, every time I turned the page, it was just like, ugh. I just couldn't. So I'm happy I stayed away from it. So it added. If I'd known the overall story before watching this, I think I would have been more disappointed in this show. The fact that I didn't know what was going to happen next and how everything would be resolved made it more appealing. That's what kept me going. So if I'd read all that shit before, I don't think I would have been as engaged in this. I would have known everything that was coming, and it just would have been a bit, plodding. It didn't really present any exciting. There's story elements. I don't know whether it was in the book. I don't think it was, but there's a story element that they take from Bourne Legacy, this sort of a Black Ops super soldier chemically enhanced program, and they kind of insert it into this, and it makes no sense for it to be in this. It's kind of like this story that has this big question mark. It takes place over a third of the show. It's kind of wedged in when it didn't need to be, with a character who really overstayed his welcome, the cop who turned out to be some Black Ops ex-military guy who was kind of addicted to these pills, and it was kind of dumb. It was needless. And if need be, have him develop that relationship with Trish, played by Rachel Taylor, that was okay, but maybe just have him be another casualty near the end. This whole thing of him becoming obsessed with Kilgrave and then being this super soldier, it was kind of stupid. It just felt stupid. It just felt, every time it came on, I'm like, wow, what's the point in this? And it was like, maybe if they'd kind of found a way to connect it in with the military or the government attempting to recreate the Captain America super soldier program, and he was part of that, maybe that could have been a bit more, some way to make it look more interesting. But overall, that was a pointless story for it. I know some people have been complaining about the Carrie-Anne Moss storyline, about her divorce in this show. Playing this lawyer, and she has a wife, and she's having an affair on her wife, and then it becomes, this big divorce thing. And some people were thinking that was pointless. I liked it, especially since Carrie-Anne Moss is a bitch in this. Like, seriously, holy fuck. Like, I'm like, I can't believe how much I was hating her, but in a good way. Because she was a solid character whenever she was on screen. She definitely had her place in this and in Jessica Jones's world. But oh my god, was she just like, this evil lawyer. Like the stereotypical depiction of what you expect a lawyer to be. She was it. And I hear that she may be crossing over into other shows. I'm not sure whether it was confirmed or not, but she may be in Luke Cage's show, or may even cross over into the films. But she's a good character to have. I like her. She was definitely one to keep around. But fucking bitch. They're the twins. They live in Jessica Jones's apartment. Yeah, they were kind of annoying, especially the girl. Really annoying, but there are heartfelt moments, especially when she first approaches Jessica Jones after he goes missing, and she's just desperate to know what has happened to him, like, please. And you kind of feel a little sorry for her in that moment. It kind of goes quickly because she's annoying as fuck, but that moment was really well done, and there are a lot of those moments. Who else, man? Shit. There was the neighbor, the dude from Empire with the crazy hair, microphone, I don't even know what the fuck, but he was good. He did a good job at playing the junkie who was revealed to be under the power of Kilgrave. I really liked him, and he became, I'm happy the fact that he stuck around. I was a little worried when it looked like he was gonna go, when he was saying he was done with it all, when he was gonna leave. I felt that he brought something much needed to Jessica Jones's life and the show. He was that human element that connects her to the world, not just, I think more so than her friend Trish, because Trish is like this sort of famous celebrity in New York. I think he actually does a better job at connecting Jessica Jones to just normal people. So he was important to have in her vicinity. So the fact that he has stuck around and he's there at the end, and it looks like that he's almost going to be working with her by him picking up the phone and saying, you know, A-list investigations, how can we help you? I like that. That's happy, and I do hope that they keep that shit going for season 2. They need to, man. A lot of fuss was made over the sex scenes in this, going into this. How, oh, it's a steamy comic, it's a full-on mature adult comic. Like, oh my god, how are they gonna bring these scenes to life? And these scenes are definitely gonna be in the show. A lot of fuss was made over nothing, because yes, there are sex scenes in it, but they're not really anything. They're just people having sex, but not in a, there's nothing explicit about it. You don't see anything, there's no nudity. But it does a good job. Some people complain that they weren't necessary, but I think they were, in the fact that they do convey the passion between Jessica and Luke Cage. Like, the way that those two, they're like magnets whenever they're close to each other in each other's vicinity, and they kind of need each other. And that was a really good way of showing that. It was just this passion, this fire, electricity between the two of them. Whenever they got close, it was just like, oh. And how she hated that because of what she did to him by being responsible for killing his wife indirectly in a way. But he was really Kilgrave, but she was the... Kilgrave was the finger on the trigger, but she was the gun, so to speak. But overall, I definitely give the show, if I was to give Daredevil a 9 out of 10, then I give Jessica Jones an 8. 7.5, 8. No, I'm gonna give it a solid 8, because I did, even though it did slow down at various points throughout the 13 episode run, it still kept me going. It wasn't an issue of me feeling like, oh, I really don't want to watch the next episode, I'm gonna go to bed. Like, it was like, nah, okay, yeah. It wasn't as fever pitch with shows like damn, what's a good example? Like Breaking Bad, where one episode ends and you're like, oh my god, I need to see the next one right now. Like, it didn't get to that point, or even with Game of Thrones, but it was still like, yeah, I can watch another episode. So I did. So yeah, but it was solid overall, great performances, so yeah. But I liked it. But I want to know what you guys think. As a show on its own merits, where did it rank for you? And comparable, because you have to compare it. You have to do it against Daredevil. And where do you think it fits in the overall Marvel universe? You know, was it a disappointment to you? It's definitely going to be a disappointment for some people. I can see it, potentially. And because it isn't action-packed, and it never promised to be. It was, you know, it was always really about the whole crime noir investigation aspect. Which it did pretty well on, you know, but still, you know, that some people are going to be a little disappointed by it. But what I really enjoy, what I really liked, was the fact that you have this hero. She doesn't really consider herself a hero, piece of shit, she likes to say, who has these abilities of being, you know, strong and being able to leave buildings and all this shit, against what Marvel usually match up their heroes with villains who have a similar skill set. Thor against Loki, similar sort of power dynamic there. You got Iron Man against the Ironmonger from Iron Man 1, and Whiplash in Iron Man 2, and you know, they always match up similarly. Good guys and bad guys. Captain America against the Red Skull, who's another version of what he was, this chemically induced super soldier, gone wrong in his case, but still, they're always the same, you know, it's a similar battle. So this is really the first time I can think of, really, that you've got a villain, a hero and villain dynamic that's completely opposite. Super strength, power against cerebral and mental power. Like, I always wondered, how is this gonna culminate in an interesting finale between these two abilities? How do you make that work? They did it in a satisfying way. I was happy with the way this ended. It was satisfying. It was a satisfying end to the show, and it left enough threads open where I'm definitely gonna check it next season if it does come back, which it will. I can't see it not coming back. Like, enough people are gonna be watching this. Even with the naysayers or people that feel disappointed, I still feel it's gonna be good enough that people want to come back and see it again. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know. Write comments down below. I really want to know what you people think. Let me know, guys. Write comments down below. Like the video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I need it. May the resources be my first take review the day after of Jessica Jones Netflix original, baby. Thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up.